Okay, so here we are. We were gone in, well, it was last week. Elle had her surgery on Thursday and stayed overnight, slept on the hospital floor, which was a great, great experience, let me tell you. And she got out on Friday. And so we missed pretty much the usual stuff. Thursday, Tai Chi, Friday, noon, Aikido. So anyway, we're back this week. And just a second, I thought what I'd do, I'm recording this somewhat for the San Jose State class. And this is the textbook for San Jose State. And what I kind of wanted to do, um, the place that the author, Linda Holiday Sensei, she's a good friend, okay? We were not in Tokyo at the World Headquarters School. We were on the southern part of the main island of Honshu in about 35,000 to 40,000 populated small coastal town. But it was a dojo that Ueshiba Osensei, I guess even at the beginning, actually helped build himself. That was post World War II. There was stuff that went on before, but the actual Shingu dojo was built after the war. And Linda has chronicled kind of a little bit of our particular history. I mentioned very briefly in here. Okay, all right. And Ano Sensei, who is still alive, still training, is kind of the main feature here, but she goes a lot into the tradition of Aikido. And I thought what I do is just go through the glossary, okay? And we're not going to go through the whole thing, but Ueshiba, the founder, kind of, well, in a sense, he had his own universe, and there are various themes he presented. And so just kind of going through the glossary, the interesting thing is not that this stuff wasn't presented at the main school in Tokyo, but by and large, it wasn't presented there. So we actually, by training down south, we actually got exposed to a lot of material, which of course has kind of guided both Linda Sensei and my training for the last 50 some odd years. Okay. In fact, our first stay was 1973, and this is currently 2023. So you figure the difference between when we were there and where we are now is 50 years. Okay. So, and this is pretty arbitrary. First one, agatsu, self-victory, victory over oneself. And a lot of it is Aikido. Its structure is non-competitive. We don't have competitions, A versus B, A determine who's better. Sports are entertaining, but true growth is interior, not okay. If there's growth here, then things on the exterior tend to flow a bit more. Okay. So agatsu. Now, there's three things. The first one was masaka, then agatsu. The last was katsu hayabi. In masaka, the first part is true winning, true victory. And then we get to agatsu, which we just mentioned, victory over oneself. And then the last one, katsu hayahi or katsu hayabi, it's translatable in many ways. That I was always told, jikan to kukan no chuetsu shita hayasa, is that speed that is beyond time and space. Or conversely, victory faster than the speed of light, something like that. So it was most of the three. In fact, true victory is victory over oneself, which leads to a state of katsu hayabi. No time, no space. You achieve more of an eternal sense of yourself, both inwardly, which has an effect on the outer part of one's existence, going back to a truer sense of things, masaka agatsu katsu haya hi. And I'm going to pick and choose a bunch of things. Lots of names of the kami. Amaterasu Omi Kami is the sun goddess. The primary heavenly kami among Shinto deities. Obviously, it's the sun. Okay? And some people somebody was critiquing Dungeons and Dragons and how, for example, this view can be viewed as very anti-Christian. Okay? In fact, because it promotes kind of more of a pagan view of things. But Ueshiba Osensei's major, at least his outward major sense of spirituality was the Shinto religion. And due to that, he talked about the kami, the divine energies. And Amaterasu Omi Kami, being the sun goddess, is pretty cool. And there's a ritual that we used to do training that's highlighted in the book. And the sun shines on everything and everyone. Okay. Therefore, it represents a kind of divine, impartial sense of what love is. There's human love. And there's more of the divine level of love. Okay. And Ame no Minaka Nushi no Omi Kami. That's a load. The first kami that appears in the Shinto stories of the origin of the universe. The spirit of the center of the universe representing the single origin of all existence. Okay? And that has to do with kind of like the Big Bang Theory to some degree. That center. First thing, obviously, and we don't really know, but let's just say everything was some form of primordial chaos. It's not chaos, it's just that if we kind of look at it, human understanding of it's very difficult. It kind of settled with itself, congealed into an infinitely dense point, under which there was kind of an organized plan for things that unfolded according to a design or plan. Mr. Einstein really said, I'd like to just think like God, because if I could understand God's thoughts, I would understand how the universe works. And then there was the matter, energy that went out there almost simultaneously to do the thing, the Big Bang. And obviously there had to be space. It didn't stay a point for space. And there had to be time. If the universe flashed in and out, it wouldn't be much. So Mr. Einstein talked about there was space-time. So you get an original design or mind, matter and energy to fill that out or fulfill it, an original mind, an original body, and space-time. I mean, the Big Bang took place many billions of years ago, and yet here we are out of that Big Bang. Okay? So, Ame no Minaka Nushi no Omi Kami. We're just in the A's right now. Ame no Murakumo Kuki Samu Hara Ryu O. That's one of my favorites. Okay? A dragon king spirit that purifies and sets things right in the universe. A frequent reference by the founder of Aikido, who believed that the dragon king was a guardian spirit of Aikido and of himself. Okay. And when I first got to Japan, I connected very strongly with Mary Heine Sensei. And her Japanese was exquisite. She could speak on the phone, and people, then she'd show up and people would, but from what she said on the phone, people would think she was Japanese. Her Japanese was that good. And so she explained it, ameno, heavenly, murakumo, kind of the myriad clouds, kuki. And this is oftentimes translated as the 9 demons or the 9 impurities. Samuhara, earthly creation. Ryu-o, the Dragon King. And the Dragon King is a force and energy that travels between the myriad clouds of heaven and earthly creation, purifying and aligning everything from the 9 demons, kuki. Ame no murakumo, kuki, samuhara, ryu-o, Dragon King. And Ueshiba Osensei had a very close tie to that. In fact, he was in World War II farming up north because things were kind of crazy everywhere. And he was told, I am now in your blood. And so it wasn't just a thought running around his head. There was some sort of a sense where, to some degree, an aspect of him was the Dragon King. Okay? So, these are things, for example, they're part of Osensei's universe. How much of that do we go into on a daily basis? That depends on the person. I basically run into, or think of the Dragon King on a daily basis because, for me, it's a very powerful leitmotif, invoking literature or an archetype. We're, to some degree, all agents of the Dragon King, and our more divine mission is taking, kind of the separation between which we call the spiritual and the material, and kind of like the morass, the 9 demons, so to speak, that unsettle and everything, and cleansing, purifying, aligning, so that original balance between the heavenly and the earthly can come through. And that's the job of the Dragon King. And Ueshiba Osensei kind of, in some sense, right? When Hikizuchi Sensei, who's at that time the chief instructor of the Shingu Dojo, he did a visit in 1978, and he was in San Jose. And a good friend, Lauren Hare, was his translator. And so right in the middle of it, which he would do, he would put you on the spot. And he asks Lauren, Ame no murakumo kuki samuhara ryu-o, what does it mean? And Lauren said to everybody, he knows I can't answer that. And so I'm kind of traveling a little bit with his group because we're close to a lot of those people. And we're in Sacramento, and all of a sudden he looks at me, Hikizuchi Sensei, and says, okay, what's the meaning of Ame no murakumo kuki samuhara ryu-o? So I'm on the spot. So I kind of open, settle. And I looked at him and I said, Dai uchu o kyome suru koto nan desu. I made it up in the moment. And that translates as universal purification. And there was a man named Isogai who was very close to Osensei, who was traveling with Hikizuchi Sensei, and he said, good. And Hikizuchi Sensei went, okay. So, I passed that sort of crazy test about the Dragon King. And I don't know how much, we could just keep on going. Chinkon Kishin, we're on the seas now. Various forms of meditative, ascetic, and spiritual exercises practiced in Shinto or related disciplines calm the spirit, return to kami or divine. Okay, so some of that is that in some sense there are universal forces, kami, original, pure, and we also are kami, but we're kind of caught, let's say, if we use the early one, between the myriad clouds of heaven and earthly creation. And there are the 9 demons. And in us, they create what you might call the I, which separates us kind of from our more earthly. We're destroying the environment with climate change right now. And spiritual ideals oftentimes get really caught up. You have religious wars and things like that. Okay. But there's the original calm that happened when that primordial, whatever it was, to kind of calm, settle. They could organize pulling into that point. And in that point, the whole blueprint of the original mind and the original body, matter, energy, and also space-time, and therefore, kaboom, the Big Bang. It was all there in that point, unfolded perfectly. So when we're kind of there, we all, to some degree, come out of that original calm. So there's a seed of kami in us, and here we are in earthly creation. Well, not really in earthly creation. If we were in earthly creation, there wouldn't be climate crisis, all these companies making lots of money, or, driving up prices, CEOs making billions, workers having to go on strike because they're not paying enough. That was not the original design. Where Shiba himself said Aikido is true democracy. At that original point, we all came out of something that was an original calm, an original beingness, whatever it is. Because the original primordial chaos, was it really chaos? Probably not. But, we do a lot of things, organized religion, we give it names and everything like that. Well, Sensei, even though he makes a lot of allusions to spiritual things, he said, I'm not teaching religion, I'm teaching spiritual science. And he oftentimes, his algorithms, his archetypes, also psychology, were oftentimes Shinto metaphors. So Chinkon Kishin. Anytime you can settle, your eye gets easier. There's a space with its own easiness. On one level, human level, your mind, your mental processes, your physical, they start to kind of bond. That union forms kind of more what we call a key energy connection. Other one, that the energy is a little too. And then the possibility of I key, and then we work with a partner to this original design where we're actually working as teammates. And so it's a martial art, so there are martial forms. An attacker receive the attack, deal with the attack, but that's it at, I think, a better level. And I'm going to do maybe a couple more, then we're going to get up and move. And we're jumping all the way to the eyes. Let's see. Yeah, okay. The word kami comes up a lot. Okay. Spirits, the divine sacred nature, specific deities of Shinto, kami can refer to anything that generates a feeling of awe or sacredness. Okay. But there is the thing itself. divine forces, energies. A lot of Washiba's spiritual science could be looked at as very shamanistic, the universe, because of the way that it was formed, the original design or mind, the original body, matter, energy, the original space, time. And then if you go the other way, tiny, 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 you get the quantum universe. It's all, there are forces we don't see. There are subatomic particles traveling at light speed. There's empty space here that we can't comprehend. And it's not really empty, it's full of all that particle movement, but it's, empty space, da, 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 da. So there's a lot of things in science that you can't see. But here we are in this heavy dimension, kind of caught up to some degree, being kind of with the 9 impurities, if you will, that he formed what Bruce Lee called the I. Okay. And to some degree, the I is a reality, but it doesn't exist if you go back. Calm the spirit, return to your divine nature, which is a lot of what the Aikido training is supposed to get us to do. And I think that's about it for now. I may go through some of these, but this is the textbook. I'm going to post this when it gets posted, hopefully soon. So the San Jose State students, this is it's a good book. The glossary itself, is at a certain level. My definition would be a little different than some of them, but not unrelated to what's here. Okay. Anyway, Cliff, anything come up you may have a question about, or?
I have a very sort of basic nuts and bolts question, which is what when you held up the book, somehow the camera can't really see the title. There's reflections.
Yes, Journey to the Heart of Aikido, and it's written by Linda Holliday. Subtitle is The Teachings of Motomichi Anno Sensei. One of my major influences from that period. There were 3. Hikizuchi Sensei was kind of the major teacher, okay? It was his dojo. He was the head of it. And then you had 3. You had Anno Sensei, who at the time was a senior rank-wise. He was 7th, now he's an 8th. And then you had a couple of 6th dans. It was Yanase Sensei, and there was Tojima Sensei. And the best way of describing it, is almost like Anno Sensei was Stephen Curry. And I'm not talking about the basketball thing, because Curry is kind of in his own way. He's got an ego, but a lot of them is very selfless. He stands, for some very positive things. And one of his young teammates says, he's really a very developed human, which of course this guy is in this, I think he just turned 20 or 21. So, it's like, but he says, and a couple of other people say, yeah, he's pretty developed. And a lot of that has to be, is he the best basketball player ever? Probably not. But on the other hand, he's clearly the best shooter. And there's something about him, he leads in a quiet way. And that's Anno Sensei. Yanase Sensei was a little bit more like Clay Thompson, picture perfect release. And Yanase Sensei's technique was just right on. There's more than that, but All right. I took a lot of those falls for him because we had a close connection. And Tojima Sensei was like Draymond Green. And Green himself, he can shoot as well as Curry. But he's a leader in a different way. It's a point where it's very difficult to describe, but so if we look at modern sports archetypes, then I kind of put the three Shingu teachers kind of on that particular thing. Let's see. Anything else? Or so this is called Journey to the Heart of Aikido. It's available on Amazon. There are limited numbers at the bookstore in San Jose State, but most students order it on Amazon. So if you don't have it, get it because you'll need it for the final. Period. Okay. Anything before we get up and move?
Nothing else. Thank you, Sensei.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was just going through the glossary and thinking, maybe it's worth going through. Now we got through A to I, so to speak. There's a lot of stuff I didn't go over. But a lot of this lets you know that most of this we were exposed to. So it wasn't just, one thing about Shingu was that you had to actually study. You can't just go to class and be a jock. Some of the stuff was hard because, we didn't really speak the language all that well, although we had to learn a lot of it in order to function, but also to understand a lot of. And understand is a tricky word because you can understand the meaning of the word and not have an interior experience of it. So anyway, I'm going to put this down. I'll put my glasses down and check the time. Well, we kind of went through quite a bit. And so what I thought we would do today, I realize I'm wearing a more casual attire, but again, the archetype, Susanoo, is the storm god, and there's Superman. So, the superheroes are kind of like the kami, okay? And Susanoo, Osensei was told a lot when he was growing up. He was the reincarnation of Susanoo. Susanoo actually is a bit more like Thor. He's the storm god, and he doesn't have a hammer, but he had a sword that he found in the tail of the dragon that he dealt with to save people. A magical sword. Amen no muraku no tsuki. Anyway, what I thought we'd do, quick recap, movements 1 through 10. Movement number 1. 2, going rightward up. 3, leftward down. 4, I'm going to shift my angle, but it should be straight ahead, left hand up. This is 5, the ready position. Either triangular. 6 is the thrust. 7 is both up and down. 8 is a repeat of 6. 9, switching over to the right side. And 10. Okay. One thing we just did midterms at San Jose State, getting the actual side forward is important because if you lose, the footwork, then oftentimes what you do is you get lost. Okay. So I thought maybe what we do today, even though a lot of which footwork is footwork. Okay. So here we're standing non-triangle, natural posture. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, and no footwork. Now, left hand goes up, right hand slides to the bottom. Footwork starts. Left, triangle, point, right foot base. 6, 7 is both up and down. 8, repeat 6. Now, footwork. Butt hand, right hand up, left hand bottom, cover your head. Right foot goes up, left foot goes back. And it's a cut or a strike. What we just did, for example, raise, cover the head. Left foot up, right foot back. Triangle on the other side. And boom. Okay, movements 1 through 10. Okay. Left hand, left foot, right hand. Okay. So let's quick recap of the first 10. Now we're going to do a kind of a recap of the second set of 10. So we're going to start. I'm going to angle, but we would all be lining up this way, but it's hard to get a full view here. So we're going to diagonalize, whatever. From 10. Left hand from the bottom goes more towards the middle. Right hand slides down. And I'm going to turn, no step, just a turn, cover. Thumbs face here, that's the second change hand-wise. It's 11, 12, step, thrust, boom. 13, up and down, a striking or cutting motion. Okay? Now, everything in the first set of 10, first change position, thumbs face away. So it's either going to face away from you or up. Okay? Second set of 10, we get the second change. Thumbs face. That's 11 now. 12, 13, boom. Okay? That's all second hand position. First position, second position. Okay? Footwork. Just a turn, no step. 11. Step, left side. No turn. No step, just a turn. Step with the left. Still left side. Okay. Now, 14, right hand repositions, thumbs face you. No step, but the movement is back. Don't just do that. Turn your head, but really what you're is rotating your hips. 15, forward, with the thumbs face you. 14, 15, okay? Going over the footwork again. 11, just a turn, no step. 12, step, left side. 13, no step. 15, no step. Okay. 16, release right, thumbs face. Release left, left catches the bottom. We're back to the first change. Cover your head. Step. Turn. Now here is a pivot. Your left foot goes back. And this is a striking or cutting motion. This is much like movement number 9. Although as you get a little freer, it sweeps out a little bit. This is 16. 17, no step. It's a body change. Then the way I put it is an elevator. You're not doing jumping jacks in the elevator. You're the elevator. Your weight is relaxed. You relax to the under. That's 17. Release your right hand. More towards the top. If this was a sharp spear, I wouldn't grab the end. Okay. But thumb space. Slide. Back. Slide. Forward. Now, this is important. Don't poke yourself or swing it. Rotate your hip. Tip is behind you. Step back. And that's movement number 20. Okay, so there's more footwork in the second set, which we're going to go over again. 10, 11, just a turn, no step. 12, left foot steps. 13, 14, 15, full no step. 16, right foot steps. Turn, pivot. Strut, that's 16. 17. You're not dropping your weight in the elevator, doing jumping jacks. You are the elevator. It's a D, going all the way down to the basement. All the tension in your upper body. Enjoy the ride. Right hand releases, goes towards the top. Thumb space, slide back. 18, slide forward. 19, position the tip back. Step back, right foot, 20. So there's footwork there, okay? And so that's more of a recap of both the first set of 10 and the second set of 10. Okay. Cliff, any questions or observations?
Going over the specific footwork and where actually really that was helpful, but also particularly helpful when we're talking about movement 14 and how you're turning the whole body to see where you're going.
Yeah.
With that was a very
yeah.
nice detail, and it makes total sense in context of all the body movement stuff we've been doing in class. So
let's just say
nice.
Somebody grabs you from the back and you've got an umbrella or walking stick. First of all, you ground. You don't go up because right there you can't move. A little bit of, movement number 16. Boom. It's not that you're looking, but for example, the movement of your head helps coordinate the movement of your hips. Boom. And somebody else is coming in, boom. Boom, boom. See, if the head is kind of like this, you're just playing with your arms. Boom. Boom. Okay? Okay, now what I thought we do is, in general terms, go through from movement 20 through movement 30. Okay, let me get this out of the picture. But here we are, movement 20, right foot is back, thumbs are facing. Okay, now what we're going to do is to step forward. It's a sweeping motion. 21. 22. Release the right hand. You're going to curve the fingers upward, but you're going to put the blade at the end. There's fingers right about here. It's like the curved undercutting surface of a Japanese sword. 21. 22. So 21 is a step. 22, no step. Now, the next one is probably the most, well, there's a couple of complex moves, but you grip. Now, very important, this swings. Swings the other way. Okay. Back to the middle. And cover. Okay. I explain it this way somehow. Windshield wipers. The rain stops, you can open your sunroof. That's maybe a little sacrilegious, but it's really 23. Is really 1, 2, 3, 4 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 21 is a step. 22 is a change of hand position, no step. 23, when you grab, sweep right, sweep left, bring it back to the middle, covering your head, and up. It's like that. It's a two-handed figure eight. Figure eights are easy this way. But two hands, okay? 23. Now, oh, right hand sees where this left goes up, right goes down, right foot steps back. That's 24. So after all this, hands change places, right foot steps back. Now we're going to release the right hand. Tip goes down, or the front end goes down. Right hand grips, both hands are thumb down. Now I'm going to release the left, grip the handle, take another step back. 25. Okay? 23. Now, right foot back. Now, release. I always hold where there's a long end and a short end. Okay? Long end down. Now, I don't want to go like this. So I'm going to move it to the side, catch. This is left foot back. It's 26. No, that's 25. 26, raise. Left hand up, right hand back. Just a turn, cover your head. So in general, highlighting the footwork. Let's go from step. 5, 21, 22. Change of hand position. 23. 24. Step back. Right foot. 25. Let go. With a long end drop. Right hand, thumb down, catches from the top. Left hand catches. Left foot steps back. 25. Now raise. Left up. Right down. Just a turn. cover head. Okay, now release right hand. The long hand goes all the way around, complete circle. Right hand from both face away, catches. Release left, catch. Now, full circle sweep. Then the right foot steps, return, take a step back, cut and strike. Okay. Okay, that's a lot. So let's go over it again. No step, just the turn. Left foot steps. Release right hand. Catch with the left. Now, movement 16 was step, turn, pivot. Body movement's the same. But what we're doing, which is different than just cutting, is sweeping. '28. Okay, let's movement number 28. So let's go by the numbers. 27, 28, 29. Oops, where am I here? I get lost when let's go again. Okay, oh, we're going to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16. Remember, like the last movie we did. 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, step right foot 21, 22, 23, 24. Right foot back, 25. Let go of the left hand. See, the long end goes from out to down. Catch. Grip with the right, catch with the left, step back. 25. 26. Left hand up, right hand down. Cover the head. 27. Let go of right hand. Let that tip goes all the way around, full circle. Catch with the right hand, thumb space away. Let go of the left, catch with the left. Now, very much like movement 16, but sweep. You're standing here and several attackers are going to about to move towards you. Give them something to think about. Then it's the same as 16-step turn cut. Okay? Huh? '29, turn. Notice I'm not swinging it as I turn. Boom. See, when I swing it, it's very slow. But I go boom, I'm going to make a change. Boom. Left hand, change. Thumb space. Let go of the right. Thumb space away. Left hand, thumb space. 30 is right foot back. That's complex. It's going to take a while, but all right. So let's go. Movement number 20. Step. Reposition. The repositioning of the hand is movement 21. '22, actually. 20, this is 21, 22, 23. We have a step. Other than that first one, it's just 23. Now, up, down, step back, 24. Step back, 25. 26 is just a turn, no step. 27, let go to the right, full circle with your catch, and let go to the left, it catches. That's 27. 28 starts with a full circle sweep and goes step, turn, pivot, just like movement 16. 29, turn the hip, left hand, right hand, left hand, step back. Okay. So that's just meant to be kind of a primer for the last set of 10, and also emphasizing the foot patterns of the first 2 sets of 10. Cliff, any comments or questions?
Just that I picked up some details in the various last 10 movements, just from watching and listening. So,
well, details are kind of funny because somebody once said the devil's in the details. And exactly what that means is, subject to situation and interpretation. But the last set of 10, of course, the details are there. Eventually, what is that? Well, first of all, you get a little smoother with it. But after a while, those movements become one. Right? And the movements here, I call these the fire water changes. Okay? And here, it's the same thing, except it's instead of rotating this way, we're rotating this way. And this is the change. When you're going that direction, all of a sudden you're, without stopping or setting, you're flowing the other direction. Okay? So eventually, it looks something like this. It flows. Okay? How are you with that last set of 10?
well, I'm getting better.
Good. Yeah.
I think the flow is getting better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, the nice thing would be, for example, you get to where the last set of, and okay. And then, you go, what we're doing here, for example, it's just really boom, 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 boom. We can kind of improv or create off of these movements. The 23 gives you, the two-handed figure eight. Okay, off of the two-handed figure eight, moving 20. Now, oh, now we go this way, this way, this way. 29 on the other side. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure how to reference that. Let me see if there's a glossary reading for what I'm looking for here, which means we're going to have to fast forward to the T's. Yeah, okay, indeed there is. And so the reading in the glossary is Take Musu Aiki, a phrase often used by the founder of Aikido, referring to the spontaneous generation of technique and the experience of love, harmony, and unification with the universe at the highest levels of Aikido. Okay, so that's a pretty good general definition of Take Musu Aiki. Now, whether the level I'm doing it is Take Musu Aiki, I don't know. That's what I call it. Okay. It's a little bit like, you know, if you're a jazz player, you solo, you improvise to the chord structure. And, you know, to some degree, you're just making it up as you go, but you're making it up because there's a foundation there, the structure of the music, and you're interweaving without setting or whatever. You're just playing off of that, but in a creative way and adapting to the changes. So, you know, I kind of look at that as somewhat similar. The Take Musu Aiki, okay? Take Musu Aiki. Take Musu. Take is an old reading of the character for Bu, which is martial in martial art. Musu is another reading of Umu, which is to give birth. Okay? And Shiva was, he said things that in a lot of ways, you know, people go, what's he talking about? But we tend to think, you know, he's the bearded saint, the master. But in those sense, they seem to indicate that a lot of people at the dojo years ago just thought he was a strange old man that would get on the mat, interrupt their training when they're bang, 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 you know, and start talking about things they didn't understand about. And they do things, of course, that they couldn't do. So you know, they didn't understand how he did the movements. They didn't understand what he was talking about. So he was a strange old man that interrupted their bang, bang, bang training. And it's a little different than maybe we would think it was. But several people, and in fact, my first two teachers were Americans, Robert Frazier, Robert Nadeau. So they looked at him and they said, you know, this guy's Japanese, but he's not doing something quote unquote Japanese. And so they were very interested in Ueshiba Osensei and who he was and how he did what he did. And so the Take Musu Aiki, creation, right? You have a original primordial chaos, void, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, that's kind of daunting. But on the other hand, I'm a human trying to understand something maybe I can't. Is it really chaos or void or whatever? I might give it a name. But on the other hand, at some point it settled with itself. Calmed down. Organized. Pulled in to that point. And in that pulling in, there was the organization of an original blueprint of the universe, a mind, okay, and the matter and the energy. It was infinitely dense. Wow. And then space-time, Big Bang. The original blueprint, along with the matter and the energy, went in to kind of create the universe, according, in that space-time field. So now that was an act of creation. And so, we use forms and things like that, but, as we're doing the movements. And this is hard to explain. Just trying to empty. Go back to that original space. The creation happens. And since Aikido is a martial art, we're going to run the three attackers, boom, boom, boom. Several attackers, they can think where they come in, boom, 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 quick. Get into a better position. So, those are martial movements, but they're actually, I think of it as just creation. You learn to think in energy flows in your body, your matter and energy, right? And there are, if we kind of look at the sense of what kami are, very advanced, more divine level of energy. We're sort of, as we clear out the 9 demons, okay, some of which are ignorance, maliciousness, things like that. Then what happens is creation. We go back to more of an original place with ourselves, which is a little bit like the original blueprint of creation. The body represents the matter and energy. We're in a space-time field where our movements come out like the universe came out. So, that's my understanding. That's the way I would try to explain Takamitsu. Any questions before we go?
Nothing that I could articulate.
Okay. How was it today?
Oh, the class was wonderful. Yeah, it was great. I liked your expurgation of various terms in Holiday Sensei's book.
Yeah,
And,
my terms would be a little different. Hers are more standard. Mine are
sure.
a little. They have a slant. Some of my own experience.
I do have one question from the beginning, which is the Dragon King. Is that part of like Shinto cosmology, or what is that?
That part of it is technically Ame no Murakumo Kuki Samu Hararyuo no Kami-sama. So, essentially listed it as a kami because it was a universal force, an intelligence. Okay. But there's some reference in some of those other things where he's talking about the 8 dragon kings, which are Chinese. And of course, Chinese culture, Japanese culture, kind of close. And, Susanoo, the storm god, he comes down and deals with this dragon who's terrorizing people. And he finds this magic sword in the dragon's tail. And that's Ame no Murakumo. As in Ame no Murakumo. And you had Kuki Samuhara, but Ame no Murakumo. And so some of that, a good teacher doesn't teach everything. A good teacher kind of points you on your way, gives you some basics, and lets you kind of piece in what you haven't learned. If somebody just teaches you everything, oftentimes you kind of stagnate. So yeah, it kind of deprives you of your own journey. I mean, Ueshiba was very much a devotee of Deguchi Onisaburo. And who was the head of the Omoto Church. Like he was so big, he threatened the government. The government put him away. Okay. But what happens is, Ueshiba was in Ayabe, and he was kind of, he was teaching some martial arts, but he was mainly Deguchi sensei's devotee. But he was so good that admirals and generals were coming down from Tokyo to train with him in this funny little community. And so finally, the admirals and the generals said, "We want to sponsor you in Tokyo." And Ueshiba went. He actually went to Tokyo, taught police, he taught military, he got connections with the royal family. All, when he was basically in this sort of cult, organizing the teen fire brigade and teaching martial arts and hanging out with Taguchi. Okay? So at that point, the way Taguchi put it, he says, you're not supposed to hang around with me and become my devotee. Be happy if you did, because we get along. Your destiny, go to Tokyo. You're the one's going to teach the true essence of what martial arts are. So you get to Tokyo. And so he was kind of, you see what I mean? It's like, you can hang around with me and your life might be too easy, right? Now, I don't know what would have happened, but if he'd hung out with Deguchi, Deguchi really pissed off and threatened the government because he was in his day, he was a master of media. And so, the government, he was saying things like, the world is this way and that way. And he said crazy things. I mean, I'm the true emperor of Japan, follow my lead because I want to create the world family, bring the whole world together in peace and love. And the government, of course, was much more militaristic and they got very, very uptight about him. And if Ueshiba had stayed with Deguchi Sensei, Deguchi Sensei and a lot of his followers were put in prison. So in some sense, as much as he would have wanted to stay with Deguchi, the fact that he didn't kick Osensei out, but he said, look, you go to Tokyo. And of course, Osensei went to Tokyo and he was teaching the military and the police, a lot of which were not terribly enthused about what Deguchi was doing. I mean, if you really try to talk too much about peace and harmony and love and war is insane, so let's all get along, it's going to really upset people that are much more fascist than they're thinking. But anyway, we should probably get going. We'll be in Mount View on Sunday. Anything else?
Nope. See you Sunday.
See you Sunday. Okay, we first of all turn off the recording.